We live in a world ruled by tyranny, where knowledge is suppressed and ignorance is glorified. A world where propaganda and misinformation travel the airways at the speed of lies. But in the midst of the violence and chaos, an awakening is taking place. And as the media empires continue to collapse, a new network is forming. A network of truth, a network of courage, a network of awareness. Peace and greetings. You are now tuned into the Network of Awareness podcast radio station, where we examine current events, politics, health, finance, and topics of cultural relevance in America and throughout the world, while bringing you insightful interviews with guests that will both educate and inspire you. And now, your host of the Network of Awareness podcast radio station, ORRA the Informationalist.
Please just tell me what's happening to me in plain English without the mumbo jumbo. How you doing? How you doing?
My aura is a network full of awareness and gifts like ORRA, the Informationalist.
All right. Peace and greetings, people. This is ORRA the Informationalist, and you're now tuned in to a live broadcast of the Network of Awareness podcast radio show. And I'm hoping that for this live broadcast, we don't have any technical difficulties, considering the information we're going to be bringing out. And I want to welcome my guest that I'll be bringing on that's going to be co-hosting with me today. He's no stranger to the platform. His brother Ahban from the BOCC. Giving all praises to brother Ahban being on the show. He's going to provide great substance as usual. And today's episode is from the Agenda Do You Dirty series. So this is an installment of the Agenda Do You Dirty series, which is Agenda 2030 for those that don't know. Now, this is called Operation Global Districts, as you can see on the bottom of the screen here for those that are viewing us on YouTube and Twitter, and also listening to us audibly on the Spreaker.com, which the Network of Awareness broadcast is out of. Now, with all that being said, we're going to talk about the possible, alleged, we got to say alleged on YouTube, alleged operation that is the secret operation for Agenda 2030, which is global centralization through creating these districts like they have in the Hunger Games. And we're going to tie in how these train derailments that are happening around the world, especially that are very consistent in the United States presently. Because there's no such thing as coincidence, brothers and sisters, right? Only the illusion of it. So, what if that these train derailments are happening so that they can poison the water supply, poison the air, keep people locked in to wherever they're located in, which would be their districts, to basically lock things down here in the United States and around the world, as they have been planning to do for ages, and really put this into effect between the years of 2030 to 2050. And we're going to talk about that because Brother Ahban shared something with me from IG. I'm going to pull up some articles. They're going to reference what's happened since the first derailment that happened in Palestine, Ohio. And we're going to talk about other things that connect the dots, so to speak. So I hope that this show gives you great substance and edification on what's really going on, opposed to what we're told is going on. Because here at the Network of Awareness is all about revealing this legacy of lies so we can better understand how Satan tries to deceive and lie to us so that we can better understand the truth of the Most High. So, with that being said, I welcome you to Operation Global Districts, the Hunger Games. Let's go. Shalom, brother.
Hey, shalom, brother. Most High Christ bless. How you doing today?
Most High Christ bless you as well, and welcome. Grand rising to you.
Grand rising to you as well.
How you doing today?
Man, I'm happy to be here. I'm trying to trying to learn how to be a better multitasker. I'll just put it like that. But I am happy and grateful to be here. How about you?
I'm happy and grateful to be here as well. Happy that I woke up this morning and woke up. This time I woke up, I think at 4:20, 4:30, around there. So that whole multitasking thing, brother, it just, with practice, you get better. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I need more practice.
Yeah. See, I learned that through having a great sense of urgency, but being patient while having that sense of urgency, you become a better multitasker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And then each time you make a slip, you have to examine that to improve moving forward as well. That helps out a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, not getting distracted in the process of doing the multitasking is the key too.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I turned off my phone. You heard those glitches, right? In the beginning?
Yeah.
When I put the Akarai intro.
Mm-hmm.
And so I turned my phone off and hopefully that works. But you know what? What I'm also going to do, just to be on the safe side, because sometimes when I have my mixing speakers on, that winds up happening. So let me take a second to unplug that, just so that we can make sure that nothing goes on. Okay. So I'm taking precautionary measures here because I don't want anything to interrupt, because you know how Satan does.
Mm-hmm.
So you shared with me a clip, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you send it to me again?
Yes, actually, I'm not sure which one it was, so I sent you all four again. And most of them have to do with the striking amount of coincidental fires and explosions in the country. I just pulled up an article from February 13th, I believe it is, in Newsweek. More than a dozen trains have derailed in the U.S. this year, and that was on February 13th. That was, two and a half weeks ago, and there have been, I think, 4 or 5 since then. So we're on a record pace,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me pull up these messages here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this first one. Okay, too many. Okay, we're gonna play a couple of these.
Okay.
So this is the first one where when they start talking about the Hunger Games, because I brought this out several times. In season 1, I brought it out in season 3 and season 4. It has a lot to do with the 17 sustainable goals of development, or developmental goals. And this whole type of utopia plan from the administrations of the government to bring about a better country. And it's a bunch of mumbo jumbo to bring about the Hunger Games and Agenda 2030, which is global control. And I mean control in every aspect of our lives, literally. So let me make sure I pull this up correctly. And that way, there's no issues. And then we'll go into some of these articles as well. Okay, there we go. All right. Now let me share that screen with the brothers and sisters.
Okay. Do you have that video of that rail section in Ohio where the cars were going back and forth and the rail lines looked like spaghetti? I couldn't find that one.
No, but I have an article. I have several articles about what's going on post derailment in Ohio that we'll be able to talk about here.
Okay.
Okay, so you can see that there, right?
Yes.
All right. So let me play it and make sure that we can hear it.
Conspiracy theorists have been saying that climate lockdowns will be coming.
So you don't hear it on your end, right?
No.
Okay. And I'm thinking because I need to play it directly from the browser. This is what happened last time. And there's like a little button sometimes that doesn't pop up.
Yeah,
well, it says share to audio, so that tab is on.
Okay.
So let's just pull it up.
Okay. I know that guy is on YouTube as well. So the full segment of what he shot is on YouTube because some way miraculously hasn't been taken off of YouTube yet. I'm going to try to find out who he is. And then maybe we can go and watch the whole segment.
Yeah. I'm going to get it up. You know, I'm noticing that there's a lot of like little glitching happening today. So that's okay because we're going to still make this happen.
Yeah, I wonder why. It must be one of those
Conspiracy theorists have been saying that climate...
Can you hear that?
Let me see.
Let me share my screen. Make sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You should be able to hear it now when I play it, okay? And I just want to make sure it's up there. Okay, so here, we're going to play it right now.
Lockdowns will be coming. And it turns out these crazy nut jobs who never know what they're talking about are right, as they seem to be with most things. As a result, the city council in Oxfordshire, England has approved a climate lockdown plan that will be implemented in 2024. We can't wait. Details of the plan include dividing the city into...
Now, you heard what he said, the climate lockdown plan, right?
Okay, I didn't hear it.
6 zones, confining residents to stay in...
You didn't hear the video?
No.
Oh, okay. And there must be something on your end with the audio, but I'm pretty sure that the audience can. Right. And if the audience that's viewing this on YouTube and Twitter can't hear it, please let me know in the chat room. But I hear it on my end. I don't know why you can't hear us because the audio tab. Okay. Oh, okay. So Duty of Man said they can't hear it either. It's interesting how, and sometimes this is why I don't like pre-broadcasting on YouTube for advertising, for promos, because it's almost like they're like, all right, you piece of shit. You think you're going to do that? You're going to put that out there like that? We're going to mess with you because everything is set, right? There's no issues here. I got the I got the audio tab set up on the StreamYard. There should be no issues whatsoever. None. But this is the situation we're dealing with. So this is what I'm going to do because, I'm a very resilient brother, as you know, and very persistent. So, brother, why don't you do this? So that way we keep this flowing. Why don't you just go over some of this information? I'm going to actually set up an extra tab specifically for Instagram to be shared on here so everybody can hear it.
Okay, I have a couple of articles I want to pull up, especially the one talking about the rail workers strike that was averted last about a month and a half ago, and it's got some very got some very interesting information in it. So, can you let me share my screen?
Absolutely.
And we will see if we can get that. Okay. All right. It's not sharing. You gotta, you gotta allow the sharing. There we go. All right. Okay. So this is from VOA News. Excuse me. And this is December 2nd. Okay. It was more than a month and a half ago. It was about almost 3 months ago or more. Biden signs bill averting rail strike to rail unions' dismay because, the progressive liberals are supposed to be pro-union. Okay. So Congress and the Biden administration this week used the provisions of a 96-year-old labor law to force unions representing thousands of railway workers to accept a contract that many of them view as inadequate. And a lot of the things in there were safety issues. This article doesn't go into that, but there are other articles that if you take a deep dive on the internet, you'll find out. Okay. Invoking the Railway Labor Act, the House and Senate passed legislation. Wow, there was no bipartisan bickering on this. So they were all against the workers, huh? There was no sides chosen. Okay. Passed legislation giving legal force to an agreement brokered by the White House over the summer with who? If the railway workers and the unions say that it was inadequate, who were they brokering with? Brokered by the White House over the summer that significantly increases workers' pay, but fails to offer key benefits such as paid sick days. This measure will prevent a strike that could have dealt a devastating blow to the U.S. economy. Okay. Okay, the railroad workers' sick leave stuff passed in the House, but let's go down a little bit. I want to see here, years-long process, because they were working without a contract since 2019. All right. The events Friday morning marked the culmination of a years-long process in which multiple unions representing some 115,000 railroad workers negotiated with the management of freight giants CSX, Union Pacific, and others over pay and benefits. The unions all pointed out that rail freight carriers have for years been posting record profits while simultaneously cutting their workforces, which includes maintenance. A major complaint was that this created unpredictable schedules for workers who found themselves effectively on call even during their time off because there was so little slack in the workforce. So you're basically forcing people to work longer hours and to work more, not have days off, and that decreases safety. And there were many other complaints, and then also if you're cutting all the workforce, you're also cutting maintenance. And those are usually the guys that are more on call, I would think. Okay. So It says, while it initially looked as though the unions would accept the deal, several members declined to ratify it. Okay, and then it goes into other things. So I don't know if you saw anything in here you want to comment on, or we can go back to what you had if you want to share that stuff again.
I think that I got it covered now. All right.
Okay.
So
all right, I'm gonna take this down.
Let's see if this works.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see if you can hear it, because if you can hear it, we'll know that the audience can hear it as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I noticed that an app that's supposed to be running in the background shut off, so I had to download it again and reinstall it while we were doing the broadcast.
Well, at least you can do it quick, bro. Because I would have been like, okay, let's start again. Let's start again at 9:30, bro. I gotta do this.
Oh boy! All right, can you see the screen there that I have up?
Yep, it looks bigger this time, so that's better.
Okay, that's good. All right, so let's see if we can hear it.
In their zones, but in order to leave their zones,
Yep, there it is.
All right.
I heard something.
Woo. All right, let's go. And brothers and sisters, let me know if you can hear it in the chat room.
This will be required to obtain what's called permission from the city council. Residents will also be required to register their cars with the council, who will then track their auto travel via smart cameras. They'll be allowed a maximum of 100 days per year to leave their zone. For the past 3 years, conspiracy theorists have been saying that climate lockdowns will be coming. And it turns out these crazy nut jobs who never know what they're talking about are right, as they seem to be with most things. As a result, the city council in Oxfordshire, England has approved a climate lockdown plan that will be implemented in 2024. We can't wait. Details of the plan include dividing the city into 6 zones, confining residents to stay in their zones, but in order to leave their zone.
All right. So we're going to try one more thing here. And if this doesn't work, we're just going to have to tell you what they're saying, because obviously, these complications, it doesn't happen often, but we know why it does happen when it does. All right. So
let's see.
All right. So I'm just going to play it directly from the browser instead of using it through the app.
Okay.
And we're going to see if that changes anything. If not, then we'll just call it quits.
Okay. No, that was me.
Conspiracy theorists.
All right, so hold on a second. I'm going to play it, and let me share it on my screen.
Okay. All right.
This is important information. All right. Now, you can see it again, right? Okay, here we go.
They have been saying that climate lockdowns will be coming. And it turns out these crazy nut.
All right, can you hear it?
No. Let me see.
I wonder if it has anything to do with my Bluetooth that I have on. That could be the culprit in all of this.
Yeah,
and
I'm not sure.
If so, let me let that be the last resort as to why this is not working. Because, sometimes I don't like wearing these big headphones on screen. So I don't look like an astronaut, but
big headphones is making a comeback, bro. It's not just because I got some.
Give me 1 second, brother. I'm going to take these off, so it's going to switch over.
Yeah. I'm searching through.
All right.
I got the video.
Let's fix a couple of things here.
Yep, I got the video pulled up on YouTube, but I'm not sure which part of the video it is. It's actually a 10-minute video.
Okay.
Talking about the climate lockdowns.
Well, let me try to play this again and see what we come up with.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to share it again.
Okay.
And then we should be good to go. I'm hoping.
Mm-hmm.
If not, then, we can try you playing the YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to play a quickie and let me know if you hear it.
Nut jobs who never know what they're talking about.
Yes.
Let's go.
Are right,
I hear
as
it.
they seem to be with most things. As a result, the City Council in Oxfordshire, England has approved a climate lockdown plan that will be implemented in 2024. We can't wait. Details of the plan include dividing the city into 6 zones, confining residents to stay in their zones. But in order to leave their zones, residents will be required to obtain what's called permission from the City Council. Residents will also be required to register their cars with the council, who will then track their auto travel via smart cameras. They'll be allowed a maximum of 100 days per year to leave their zone. For the past 3 years, conspiracy theorists have been saying that climate lockdowns will be coming. And it turns out these crazy...
Okay, so you heard all that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now, there's a lot in here. A lot. Because so let me try to put this all into perspective here because there's so much to this.
Mm-hmm.
Remember we talked about the EVs. Electronic vehicles, right? How there's a big push for it. You're seeing commercials all across the world. EV, 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 EV. You shared the video where it took a guy 40 minutes to get 20 miles of electronic gas, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
All right, which is bullshit. It's stupid. Let's not forget to mention that the components, as far as the minerals that it takes to create these computer boards to operate these electronic vehicles, actually takes more resources than actual natural gas or gas in general, as far as like what it takes to produce it. So it takes far more resources, far more labor and manpower to create these chips. All right. Now, also, climate change. Did we not discuss how these chemical fumes that are poisoning the atmosphere can create things to happen to people and also to the weather? Also, the chemtrails. There's been listen, out here in Florida, there's chemtrails damn near every day. And if you never heard this episode, but I did an episode when I first had started in season 1. I was driving. This was around March or April or May of 2020. This is when we were on lockdown. Remember, it's pure lockdown. It was like I Am Legend out here. Everywhere. Remember that, right? I loved driving at that time too. That was the best time to drive because I felt like Will Smith and I Am Legend. So I look up in the sky. And when I look up in the sky, I see one of those Cessna planes, those private planes, smaller planes. And it was low to the ground. And it was spewing out this toxic kind of smoke during that time. And I said, I wonder what the hell that has in it. But it was a big chemtrail. But guess what? It was at nighttime. See, I see a lot of chemtrails during the day. But who knows what these people are doing at night? Because I see all types of stuff flying at nighttime with lights. And what a perfect time to poison the air with chemtrails at night when everybody's sleeping. So you don't know what's going on unless you're one of those people that's a night owl and you're looking up in the sky and you just happen to see this plane go by. I shared the other video where the plane was going by in South America, and 30 minutes later, after the plane passed by, all the chickens died. So they've been doing this for a while. But we've seen an increase within the last year or two. Now, add in the train derailments. Now, the train derailments are interesting because it's not only poisoning the air, and people are already getting sick, brother. You already know that. We got articles to prove that. People are already getting sick. There's people that are like, we might have to leave. We might have to leave our homes because it's too toxic to be within this environment. But also add in the fact that it's poisoning the natural resources on the ground. It's poisoning the animals, and it's poisoning the water supply. Which, if the water supply gets very poisoned, what does that do? That makes people dependent on getting their water elsewhere, i.e. the government. Just like when any natural disaster happens, what does FEMA have to do? They have to bring bottles of water in for people to drink and so on and so forth. So this is setting the stage for extreme scarcity, which will lead to extreme control. Problem, reaction, solution. Agenda do you dirty. And right now they're doing us dirty in the most dirtiest ways you could possibly imagine. So let's go into that, because I have so many articles here. But first, let's talk about this. Okay. Now, what I'm going to share with the brothers and sisters, and then we'll go back to some other videos now that we can actually hear them once and for all. I'm going to go back now. I'm going to share this with you. And this has to deal with the Hunger Games. Netflix, surprise, adds entire Hunger Games franchise. This was recently. All 4 Hunger Game films are now available to stream on Netflix in the U.S. The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, arrive in theaters on November 17th. So they got a new one coming out. The prequel will see Tom Blyth step up as a younger version of the same character. 2023 is going to be a big year for fans of The Hunger Games. The best-selling book series turned hit film franchise is returning to the big screen for the first time since 2015 with the adaptation of Suzanne Collins' prequel novel, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. You remember the other movie about Songbird? With the Kaka-19?
It's slipping my mind right now, bro.
Yeah. Listen, all of this is connected. All right. So I just wanted to show brothers and sisters this because nothing is by coincidence. These people are very intelligent. These demons are very, very wise. They've been here for a long time. And the principalities that are working through these people know exactly what they're doing, but they're not fooling the children of Israel. They're not fooling the children of the Most High. They're not fooling these truth seekers like you and I and many others that let's tune into this show, because we hip to this. This is why I say, brothers and sisters, you got to be aware and prepared, and your faith better be on steroids these days, because this is spiritual warfare. Guns and knives are not going to win anything, you know? And I'm sorry to burst the bubbles to all my patriots that listen to my show, but having an assault rifle may keep the derelict down the street that's going to try to steal your food away, but it ain't going to stop this demonic force. Because like I said before, they have technology that can microwave your body from the inside out from 100 yards away. How you going? What's a gun going to do to that? They got little robot dogs that can come up to this. They can come up to my house right now and spray bullets nonstop until everybody's dead. So for you people that think that your guns are going to save you, you're so delusional. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't have them, because like I said, there's going to be a lot of, when anarchy does happen and when there is chaos in the streets, as the scriptures talks about in the books of Revelations, yeah, gun can stop a derelict or stop a couple of dudes or women that are trying to, that are acting savage like, which we will have a lot of savage behavior here, especially in the United States, as dumbed down as the people are out here. But this is not going to stop the spiritual warfare. Your guns can't save you, okay? And I have a show about that on my subscription channel. Now, let's go into this next article, okay? Because it gets even more interesting with the train derailments. Okay, so here's another article I'm going to share, and this one is in regards to the train derailment that happened in Palestine. Okay, and we're going to do this one briefly. So, Ohio senators ready rail safety bill after fiery crash. Railroads like the one involved in last month's fiery crash and toxic chemical release on Ohio would be subject to a series of new federal safety regulations and financial consequences under legislation being introduced Wednesday by two U.S. senators. All right, so let's take a look into that. We'll go through one of these articles here and make sure it pulls up. Now, also keep in mind that who cares about a legislation bill? The damage has already been done. The damage has already been done, brother. Has it not? The damage has been done already. So Ohio passes a rail safety bill after fiery train, right? So it says proposed safety measures in response to the East Palestine train derailment are part of a $12.6 billion state transportation budget passed Wednesday by Ohio House with bipartisan support. So more money that supposedly the country doesn't have is now being put towards this transportation bill. Now, there's big infrastructure changes to our transportation system because what they're looking to do with this global district control is they're going to set up districts around the world, but especially in this country. There's going to be a district for the Northeast. There's going to be a district for the Midwest, for the Southeast, right? So there's going to be all this stuff that's going to be happening. And it's interesting that my Bluetooth just came back on. Hold on one second.
They want to make sure to get a good copy, bro.
Let me just turn Bluetooth settings off, bro. This is, bro, I'm just telling you, like, if I've ever had a show that has had major complications, technically, it's today. My Bluetooth just came on and it's off. It's just off. It just turned on all by itself, brother. Anyway, the budget proposal would fund pavement, bridges, and other highway projects over 2 years. It includes $1 billion targeted for improvements to our rural highways. It also lowers fees for plug-in hybrid electric vehicle owners. I'm going to read that again. The budget proposal would fund pavement, bridges, and other highway projects. You know what that means, right? This is that major railway system. See, what they're going to do is, if you remember, have you ever seen the Hunger Games, brother?
Yes, the first one.
Remember the train that they traveled through to get to the different districts? Okay. They have those trains. And they're building railway systems throughout the U.S. for these trains. Some say that it's underground, but they're also going to build them above ground. So when they say budget proposal would fund pavement, bridges, and other highway projects, they're talking about the train system to transport people to districts collectively, all together. And then it says, also think about the movie with Justin Timberlake. Why is that movie passing my mind? The one Time, Out of Time. That's the one where they have the digital inscription on their arm right here. And their life is based on how much time they have to live. So in that movie, they show you how everything would be subjected to districts and certain borders that if you had enough time, which equates to money and digital currency, would you be able to pass from place to place. And if you remember in the movie, everybody that only had a little bit of time was subjected to this one area. It was extreme poverty and extreme wealth and nothing in between. And what are they doing right now? They are completely eliminating the middle class here in the United Shenanigans of America and in other places around the world, like the UK, like in Asia and other places. So it's going to be the very poor opposed to the very, very wealthy. And you already know that the very, very wealthy are those people that are your narcs, your soul sellers, and all of that, right? Your heathens.
Yeah.
So when it says that these highway projects, 2 years, and includes $1 billion targeted for improvement to rural highways, it will also lower fees for plug-in hybrid electric vehicles. So that further proves that the push for electric vehicles, okay, is going to be really, really pushed from here on out to where they want to make it to where everybody starts having electric vehicles, and gas operated vehicles are eventually going to become obsolete. It's kind of like what happened with the CDs and tapes. You went from tapes to CDs to USB to electronic download, you know?
Yeah. Well,
Now,
before that, you had vinyl, and vinyl started making a comeback because it just wasn't as good.
Right.
You know,
But-
so this is crazy.
It is. But like, think about it. Can you get a CD these days? You know how hard it is to find a CD?
Yeah.
Unless you have one.
Yeah. Well, it's not environmentally friendly to use all that plastic and stuff. So I guess that's the push. And then the climate affecting energy caused by making and writing a CD. It's just, you know, it produces too much carbon, bro. So they went to digital, which uses more energy.
Right. Right. All right. So let's go to the next article. And this one is interesting, brother, and you can chime in on this one. So let's I gotta figure out how to share without having to
come back.
Yeah, I could do slides. It's just I haven't really messed with it like that, you know, but I'll take time to learn that so that way we save time on the broadcast. So this article says Texas, Michigan officials say they didn't know water soil from Ohio train wreck would be transported into their jurisdictions. Officials in Texas and Michigan are complaining they didn't receive any warning that the contaminated water and soil from the train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio, would be shipped into the jurisdictions for disposal.
That's interesting. That's a states' rights issue, and you know it's alongside the abortion issue in this way, because the Supreme Court didn't overturn abortion. I think it was in the middle of last year. What they did was they said states have rights. And this has been a constant issue for, 150 years or so. It was part of the behind the curtain cause for the Civil War. Okay. And, if you take a deep dive and you read enough about it, and you look at the economics instead of the political, meaning slavery issues. But and there was a lot to do with that as well. But states have rights. So if a state does not want nuclear waste or hazardous waste transported from another state into or through their state, they have that right. Okay, just like if a state wants to say we can abort here or we cannot abort here, and it went through the legislative process, that's a state's right. And then the federal government, in establishing these zones and stuff, wants to do away with states' rights. So that's why they're saying we can just say, hey, listen, we're going to, make abortion legal in all 50 states. It would have to pass by a supermajority, I believe, in Congress, because you're interfering with the state legislatures to protect and promote what they want to do within their borders. So it is a state's right. So they do have a claim there, even though there's FEMA or EPA or whatever jurisdiction over things. The actual waste and things that's going to affect the citizenry and the land of that state falls under states' rights. As far as, and that's just basically a summary of what's going on in the, in the Supreme Court and in these federal courts. They're trying to hash out different states' rights issues, like with the alleged Don't Say Gay bill that didn't have the word gay or whatever in it. You got people in other states saying the federal government should step in and say, no, you have to do this. And Florida is saying, listen, this went through our legislature and it passed and the governor signed it into law. And, there's no right that the federal government has to deal with this. But you got these liberal activists pushing things like this that are taken into the federal court. And eventually, unless they have a change in the outlook of constitutional doctrine, it's going to stand. But the government is pressing on all the states, especially the states that they don't like, that's not following their agenda. They're pressing on them by, making the most dangerous end up in red states or transporting this toxic waste to a red state. So, that was it.
Well said, brother.
All praises.
Let's go into this article real quick.
Of course, their employees are reporting illnesses.
So employees are reporting illnesses, union reps, after working on cleanup for East Palestine. All right. Now, let's go to let's go to the Hill. I like the Hill. They usually have good articles.
Yeah. Yes, they do. They're really thought-provoking, and a lot of times they tend to pull back the curtains slightly. Let you know what's actually going on. Not all the time, but a lot of times. And I have something to say about the employee side as well.
All right.
When we get finished.
Can you hear the commercial that's playing?
No, I cannot. And I'd like to thank you for that.
All right. We don't need to know about that. It says, workers aided in the cleanup of the train derailment in Ohio have experienced lingering migraines and nausea, according to a union representative for workers that build and maintain railways for Norfolk Southern.
Hold on a second. Wasn't that one of the unions that was trying to get more workers on because they were saying things were unsafe?
Correct.
Okay. And the record profits and slashing the workforces is what these people had been done. And the federal government actually helped them. They gave the workers raises, but the raises doesn't deal with the rest time or, any safety issues. So.
And also, didn't we discuss what these chemicals can do to people's health?
Yes.
All right. So it's just interesting that they're saying migraines and nausea, but you know that there's way more happening to these people when they go to their doctors, what they're being diagnosed with.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't be surprised. See, I'm so happy that I got out of the insurance industry.
Mm-hmm.
All praises to the Most High that I got out of the insurance industry that I was in for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a shit show now. I haven't even spoken to any of my, people that I had relationships with and friendships with in the insurance industry. And some of them were following me on Facebook until I canceled everything on Facebook.
Mhm.
But I can only imagine what life must be like for my brothers and sisters that are selling insurance these days. It can't be good. And it can't be good for the pressure that's being put on them, because I know for a fact that insurance industries are losing boatloads of money, which I already know based on my experiences that they're revising all of their policies as we speak. Because when I look at something like this, think about all these people that are insured with their health insurance plans, their supplemental plans, their life insurance plans, right? I.e. the science appliance. All those people that were passing away from the science appliance, all this money's got to be paid out, because when you die from the science appliance, they're not saying you died from the science appliance. They're saying you died from a heart attack or myocarditis or whatever else, or your diabetes spiked up or whatever, or asthma, right? So once that goes on paper that you died from that, the insurance companies have to pay out.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it said that you died from the science appliance, then they don't have to pay anything.
Yeah.
And that's a whole nother story, but I did cover that a while back in season 3. But when I look at this from just knowing what I know from my years of experiences being in the insurance industry, is that when it comes to the insurance, when it comes to health insurance, think about all the money that the insurance companies that are associated with Norfolk Southern, they have to pay out all this money for people that are being sick, that have all of these policies in place that they pay for through their checks or whatever, through the income. So insurance companies must be like, I can only imagine what type of meetings are being had in the boardrooms of these insurance companies, because I already know with the science appliance, they lost tons of money, especially the smaller ones, not the big conglomerate ones. I mean, they're still functioning too, but the smaller ones really got hit hard. So Jonathan Long, union representative for the Brotherhood of Maintenance of Way Employees Division of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, said in a Wednesday letter to Ohio Governor Mike DeWine that around 40 workers were ordered by Norfolk Southern, which owns the train that derailed in East Palestine, Ohio last month, to clean up the wreckage. Long said he had received reports that the workers were not given proper personal protection equipment to help clean up the wreckage, not being offered respirators, eye protection, and protective clothing.
Okay,
So
where are you reading it? Where are you reading it, bro?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not sharing my screen.
No, it's the other article. It's the screen that has the two news
that's
articles. Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad you told me that.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see, I'm gonna have to figure out how to do the slide so I can just slide on over.
Yeah. And when you find out, tell me, because I need to know. But it's interesting that they wouldn't even provide personal protective equipment, because that's required by OSHA, and they could face a serious fine, which they can give some lawyers some money and appeal and get it knocked down to nothing.
Oh, that's coming, brother. That's coming. That's you already know that there's going to be people that are going to be suing, especially in this country. People are always looking to sue for anything they possibly can, and I don't blame them. Honestly, I don't blame them, because if I had a lawsuit that I could file, I would file it. So that way I could just do what I love doing all the time and not have to worry about a damn thing, because I have so much money, you know?
Well,
and life is almost like that right now. The only thing is, it's not in abundance, but it's there.
Well, you know what? In a way, if there's any way that they could see any good from this, is that their symptoms are immediate because of the dangerous level and the dangerous types of chemicals that they have.
Right.
I know a person, myself, who was exposed to something, and the effects were slowly building up over years. So it took about 14, 15 years for me to notice the severity of the symptoms, where I thought I was just always, catching colds and stuff like that. And, just getting tired and stuff because I was getting a little older. But the thing is, in the state where I live, for when you sue an employer for gross negligence and safety violations, you only have 7 years. So from the time that I was first exposed, and not knowing anything about these materials, I could not sue them, and then when I went to go do research on the materials I was working with, the safety data sheets on the materials weren't even in the database that they were regulated by law to have them in. I had to actually go contact the manufacturers for the safety data sheets. So the only way out that I had was through, we happen to have a workers' compensation program in my state, which is not even in other states. So I was able to get some relief, but it's based on, 2009 levels. It's not based on, like getting a payday for, what I could have done at a level in maybe 2003 or 4 or 7, and then extending that out 20 or 30 years for the rest of my calculated life. So at least these people that have immediate symptoms, they know what the chemicals are. They know what happened when they got them, when they exploded them, when they blasted them. They know the effects. All of that stuff is known now, and they have immediate symptoms. So they're going to have to live with those symptoms forever and have medical attention forever, but at least they know now so they can sue. And that's the thing, if there is any good out of this, so
that's if they make it that far, because a lot of what we read as far as the illnesses that can come from this can be deadly.
Yeah.
So a lot of these illnesses can kill you very quickly, in a short period of time, within a few years. And depending on somebody's health, especially if, let's think about this. How many of these people took the satanic serum? Weigh that into it. So now you got the satanic serum, you got the roosters, and then you mix this into it. You're messed up something special.
Yep.
You all specially messed up.
Yeah, and then they'll
internally.
delay the court. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying internally.
And they'll delay the court cases, so hopefully, and that's what they do. They hope that you won't, the company and then the insurance companies that, that service these companies, they'll delay this stuff in court in the hopes that you actually die, and then maybe if you do win posthumously, they'll only have to give your family half of what they would actually have given you.
Brother, they could postpone this for the next 20 years.
Yeah, exactly. When I first found out that I got sick, a guy told me, you'll never see any money. Your grandkids will see the money, but by the time you get the money, it'll be too late for you. That's what I was told.
Right.
And that's what they do. But giving all praises and thanks to the Most High in Christ, that it worked out a little different than that. And, that's why I say I'm happy and grateful to be here even today.
All praises.
Man, all praises.
In East Palestine, Norfolk Southern was one on scene immediately after derailment and coordinated our response with hazardous material professionals who were on site continuous to ensure the work area was safe to enter and required PPE was utilized in all addition to air monitoring that was established within an hour, the company said in a statement to The Hill. Derailment of the train.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
How you going to have air monitoring? Just go ahead, bro.
In 1 hour. Okay.
Yeah, in 1 hour.
The derailment of the train East Palestine, which was carrying hazardous materials, was raised concerns about potential environmental and health hazard. Area residents were briefly ordered to evacuate after the crash before being cleared to return to their homes days later. Some have since reported experiencing unusual symptoms, such as rashes and burning sensations when they breathed. This incident also sparked a political hailstorm, both in the state and nationally. The Biden administration and Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, in particular, have faced tough scrutiny for its reaction to this derailment.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say it again. What if they took the satanic serum? Okay.
Yeah.
Which is already going to attack the cardiovascular system and the respiratory. And on top of that, you got this whole thing with these chemicals in the air. And I'm telling you, I'm going to say it again. This Biden administration, brother, whew,
they caused this, bro.
they're probably, this administration, for as long as this country's got left, is probably going to be one of the most wickedest administrations in government history here.
Wow.
The amount of wickedness and malevolence that has come out of this administration, brother, is astounding. It really is.
Yeah. I used to think they can't be that stupid. They have to be doing this on purpose. And, I had to come to the realization that, what they're doing is fulfilling Bible prophecy. So they can be as smart as they want to be. And I don't know where that echo is coming from. I don't know what I did. But they can be as smart as they want to be and worship what they want to worship. But they can try as hard as they can to do what they want to do, but they're going to fulfill Bible prophecy. So, they can cause this stuff. They can try not to, but it's still going to happen because this is what the Lord said was going to happen.
Right.
That was
Norfolk Southern train derails in North Carolina. Now, brothers and sisters, we did a whole episode on this about how Norfolk Southern trains are derailing everywhere, which is not uncommon. But what is uncommon is how frequent it's become just in the last couple of months. It's like the trains derailing over here, over there, all right, and around the world too, because this happened in Greece. But it says a Norfolk Southern train derailed in North Carolina on Saturday morning following a high-profile crash in Ohio earlier this month. All right, and then we're going to go into the Florida one. All right, so let's go to the Raw story. All right, this is the Raw story article. And let me pull up the Raw story because I have to switch screens here. And this is nothing is by coincidence. And we're gonna go back to those Instagram videos right after this too, because I want to share the ones that you had me do. All right, so can you see that another Norfolk Southern train derails? All right, so let's take a look at this real quick. So it says one of our trains traveling through Lexington derailed this morning. Of the train's 132 cars, one has derailed. There are no reports of a hazmat situation or danger to the public. A company spokesperson told Fox News, "Our crew is safe and additional personnel are on their way to begin cleanup. We appreciate the public patience and care near this area during the cleanup work." Now, what I think too is that because there's such attention on this, why not just lie and tell people, hey, there's nothing to worry about with this one? Well,
here's the thing. Instead of having record record profits and cutting the workforce. If you're carrying certain things on your train, right? Why don't you have a cleanup crew on the train? Why do you have people on call? Like we read in the article when they shut down the strike in December. You know, why don't you have people, if you know there's certain chemicals on a train, why don't you have a cleanup crew there and the materials and the PPE, personal protective equipment? Why isn't all that stuff there? Why are they on their way? But they got record profits though, so they can afford to spend the money. They're just not, you know, and, you know, the administration that we're under right now in this country, they took 2-3 weeks to get there. In Palestine, they're probably not even going to acknowledge this one, you know, so they don't care. So, you know, and they're very, like you said, they're the most malevolent, they're the most base, but again, it's fulfilling Bible prophecy because the Bible says that the most base of men, the most malevolent, the most, but what this nation needs is the worst of those men are going to rule. So what do you expect? You know? What do you expect?
All right, let's pull up this article here. There's one more, and then we'll go back to the videos here. Let me X out of there. There's so many articles about this. It's insane, brother. It really is.
And one more thing, bro. I got a question. Why are Greta Thunberg, Hamburg, whatever her name is, why isn't she on the scene? Why is she over somewhere in Europe protesting that they're putting up wind farms? Why isn't she here and talking to Norfolk Southern, talking about how dare you? Where are the clients? Where's John Kerry? Where's Al Gore? Did you see the mushroom cloud? And then hours later, the black cloud that was in the atmosphere from this fire and explosion? But all of these climate change activists, where is Barack Obama? All of these climate change activists, all of them are silent. You know, like they don't have permission to speak about this.
Yeah, insane. Let me stop this one because I already shared that one. So
yeah, but I got to get an electric car and eat crickets because I produce too much carbon. Okay, all right, but the carbon produced making the electric car, including mining the materials and manufacturing the battery, I could buy a reasonable internal combustion engine car and it's manufactured, and me buying gas and putting gas in it for 3.5 years is the equivalent of the carbon expended to make an electric car. But, you know, that's all right. And then there's coal-fired and natural gas-fired plants and industry that's making the electricity for the electric car, but they're not saying any of that. It all has another purpose.
Right. So let's take a look at this. EPA poised to advance new regulations on toxic chemical. And here in this article, and this is from activists see community as a test case in chemical fight. So Yuzula Tanyuyi has no idea she was breathing in toxic air pollution until a friend sent her a list to the a link to the Environmental Protection Agency (EPA) website, showing her community was a hotspot for cancer risk. Tanya and her neighbors in Willowbrook, Illinois, soon learned that a medical sterilization plant in their area was emitting a toxic chemical called ethylene oxide, better known as the abbreviated ETO. ETO is used in sterilization, including for medical devices as well as spices. It is also a carcinogen, having been linked to the white blood cell and breast cancer. Animal studies have also linked it to brain cancer. Tanya and other community members formed a group aimed at shutting down the plant. Eventually, they did so, though the company behind the plant says it did not pose a safety risk to the community. Yet the issue is broader than just one facility or company, you think? Last year, the EPA said communities near 23 sterilization plants have elevated cancer risks. The list included locations in populous cities like Memphis, Tennessee, and Laredo, Texas. Tunier says she sees what happened in her community as something of a test case for how the issue will play out in the coming years. The chemical industry says that sustainability isn't going away. ETO may be the only effective sterilization agent for some medical devices. According to some government websites, through EPA could soon make a change. The agency is scheduled to propose a new rule next month that could strengthen pollution limits for ETO. Yeah, right. In the meantime, activists in communities with active facilities are still fighting for change. Our goal is to reduce outrageous amounts of emissions coming from the Midwest and mimic policies that were paused in the state of Illinois that brought down emissions. And Sheila Sarah, Climate Science and Policy Director at the Rio Grande International Study Center. So as you can see, like, there is this plan for depopulation is in full effect, brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
Full effect.
I'm just wondering, hasn't Illinois been Democrat for like 50, 60 years? So who paused these safety regulations?
But this is just another part of the process of this demonic agenda 2030 to do you dirty, because they have to get the population down. The Georgia Guidestones were not lying. See, I think a lot of people don't understand that Satan doesn't lie. Satan can't lie. He's a master deceiver, and yes, he'll lie and put lies in place, but he's allowed to do what he does. So he has to tell you beforehand what he's doing, i.e. Hollywood. That's why I brought up the Hunger Games movie, because they tell you in the movies what they're going to do. They give you the truth in plain sight, but it's that sleight of hand like the magician does. And this is no different. These are all integral steps to bring about depopulation. That's it. And it's working very well, because here in the United States, at the rate that we're going in regards to depop, we have an increase of about 70%. And I think it's like in the UK, I think it's about 45 or 50. So it's interesting on how these Western civilization nations have this big strategy to bring about the demise of people that live in these places through health. And it's not just through the science appliance. It's through the air. It's through the chemtrails. It's through the food. It's like they're covering all aspects to bring about this Hunger Games scenario. Because if you remember in Hunger Games, and like the Georgia Guidestone says, bring the world population to under 500 million. And if you remember in Hunger Games, it was these small poverty-like districts that people dwelled in. And everything was controlled. Everything. They had very little food. You know, they had to go out into the woods to hunt and all types of stuff. Everybody had straggly clothes. And people think that that can't happen. And it very much can. This is not imaginary stuff. If anything, I think that people ever since the pandemic hit, I think people are becoming more aware that Hollywood is not imaginary. Hollywood is not fantasy. It's based on reality. They're just making it look like it's imaginary because it's actors pretending. And it's a big broadcast or production behind it. But it's all based on truth. You think these people get this information out of their imagination? No. This is well-documented information that they grab hold of, and then they put an artistic twist to it. But to the that movie Songbird, which that movie Songbird sucked because what they did, I think what happened is they told the director, I forgot, Michael Mann or whatever his name is, they was like, bro, you can't put too much of this stuff in here. Because if you look at that movie, it looks like that movie was edited. I know editing very well. That movie was edited severely. I bet you if we was to see the director's cut, it'd be a completely different movie. They must have pulled at least several hundred scenes out of that movie. Because that movie, the way it came together, just didn't make sense. They made it into a love story. He's like, oh, I got my bracelet. I got to go save my girl. It's like they made it into a love story because they pulled so many scenes from it. But, they're doing it in real time now. Forget about the movies. They're showing you that they're creating a Hunger Games scenario in real time. So let's go back to the videos.
Hey, you know what? Right quick, let me, since you were talking about ethylene oxide, let me pull up something right quick. Should be about 3 to 4 minutes. Just want to read something. Okay.
So let me stop sharing screen here.
Okay.
All right, you good to go.
All right.
And by the way, real quick announcement, brothers and sisters, we're streaming live on Spreaker.com. If you're like in your car driving and you need to, listen to us, we're on StreamYard. We're on StreamYard, but we're also broadcasting live on Spreaker.com. Tune into the Network of Awareness on your Spreaker app, on your phone or any device that you have. We're also streaming live on YouTube at ORRA _the _informationalist and also at ORRA _NOA on Twitter. Go ahead, brother.
Okay. I need permission. You got to click something for the screen to come up.
Oh, okay. Shout outs to Brother Kakam, Brother Ash, Duty of Man. I think that's Brother Marcus Crawford. I think that's him. I'm not sure. It could be, but shout outs to those brothers. There you go, bro.
Okay. All right. Since you were talking about ethylene oxide, this is February 8th of this year. 14 Americans, and this is the Hill, by the way, 14 Americans live within 5 miles of facilities emitting cancer-causing gas. Wow. Emissions of a colorless, carcinogenic gas produced by facilities that sterilize medical equipment. And I thought you could do, like use superheated boiling salt water to do that, but I guess they came up with a chemical that's better for that. Disproportionately affect low-income and minority neighborhoods. Can somebody say systemic racism? But pose a risk to more than 14 million Americans, according to a report released Tuesday by the Union of Concerned Scientists. So if you want the data, it's right here. All right. Ethylene oxide is largely produced by commercial sterilizers, which tend to be located in buildings that do not look like the average American's image of large industrial facilities, to the point that people are often unaware they share a neighborhood with them, according to Darya Minovi, a senior researcher with the group and the report's author. Check this out. Compounding the issue, she noted, many of the emissions are so-called fugitive emissions, meaning those produced unintentionally through leaking valves or equipment. So cutting back on safety and maintenance to maintain profits. The love of money is the root of all evil. Here it is. Of 104 facilities analyzed by the group, about 14.2 million people live within 5 miles of one, and there are 10,000 schools and childcare facilities within the same radius. Those near childcare facilities, Minovi noted, pose a particular hazard because ethylene oxide is a mutagen, meaning that breathing it can damage your cell's DNA, and kids' cells are dividing more rapidly than adults do. So I just wanted to bring that up because, you brought that out, and I don't want the listeners or the viewers to think that, oh, well, this is like some, this is just this one location, or this is, something that, it's only in Illinois. No, this stuff and stuff like this is not only cross country, but worldwide. So that was it.
All right. Thank you for that. And I came up with another title for a show you and I could do. Maybe we can get could come on this too. Systemic hateism.
Oh my goodness.
Just came up with that, all praises to the Most High for that. So let's go to these Instagram videos because it wasn't just one, it was several. And let's go to Too Many Coincidences, which we know that there is only the illusion of coincidence.
Yeah. What are you, a conspiracy theorist? It's just coincidence.
All right, so let me share that video.
There's that fire today in Mexico, and then there was another train derailment today in Florida with propane tanks on the train, but they're not trying to destroy the environment. It's all just a coincidence. Okay. Seems to me there are an awful lot of coincidences lately. Got me so flustered I can't even talk. This is ridiculous.
So what you're looking at is the train derailment and toxic fumes in Mexico. Okay, so let's stop sharing that, and then I'm going to go back and share the next video.
It's like when the feminists were coincidentally told not to speak when trans women athletes started breaking records in women's sports. It's like the activists haven't been given permission to speak about this environmental and atmospheric damage that's going on now. It's like they're all controlled and all these narratives are controlled or something,
Well, that's the world we live in these days. Everything is censored. We live in a censored culture now. It's part of the reason why platforms like mine can't excel like a platform like Alex Jones did at one time. Or obviously Alex Jones, they hit him hard, but if we didn't have all this censorship, a platform like this would grow a lot faster. Like an Alex Jones did at the time when the censorship wasn't as consistent and strong as it has been since the pandemic. See, because I think what happened is when the pandemic hit, these oligarchs that own these pharmaceutical companies, they pretty much just bought everybody out. They just paid everybody to shut the hell up. They paid these big tech companies and said, hey, I want you to put things in place to where everything gets censored. Anytime I put a post, brother, and I have anything in my hashtag that's related to some type of conspiracy theory, I get the COVID-19 little thing bar on the bottom of every video I post on TikTok, on Instagram. And it's like, why? Because it's a system now that they have in place. It's all automated now. It's like, and I believe that certain people, like certain organizations and certain platforms, like the Network of Awareness, like the BOCC, like many other brothers and sisters that bring out this truth, we're flagged. We're at the bottom of the list. I had a coaching session a couple of days ago, and the brother was telling me, he's like, yo, you better going to Rumble, because a lot of your content, he's like, you're not profitable for a platform like this, like YouTube. You're just not. The only way I would be profitable is I was talking about celebrities and talking about Beyonce, or flipping water bottles, or making stupid noises and doing pranks on people and fart noises. Like if I just did this, like, and I literally did that for 5 minutes and every episode, I would have like 3 million followers. Literally.
How many of them would be bots, because they're going to prop you up if you go with their foolishness narrative, and that's the thing. And they're going to censor, and I think it was before 2020 that these entities and platforms were bought out. I think they were created with the money from these people.
Absolutely.
And guided, and then this guy buys that guy and all this other stuff. I think there were people that might have had good intentions, but their ideas were bought out, or, but it was from the start. And I also think that if they didn't censor, it would overwhelm the federal gun background check system, and it would shut it down. So they don't want too many people buying, any type of defense mechanisms. So that's my two theories about why they censor. But yeah. I could be wrong. I mean, it's just a theory, and theories are often wrong, right?
Yeah, and you know who else gets a lot of followers that make a lot of money on TikTok? Your twerkers.
Yeah, that's what I said. Twerking
wearing,
videos.
the yoga pants and all of that stuff, and twerking and posing with the selfies in the mirror. I mean, it's like, it's insane, bro. But anything of quality of substance, anything that is serving the Most High, gets put at the bottom. And it's okay, because honestly, I'm just doing this for now. I've already told you that I got a lot of interviews coming up that I'm going to be posting on YouTube that are very uplifting, with brothers and sisters doing great work. But when it comes to my stuff, my solo casting, or when I bring brothers like you or Kakam or Akarai, and we talk about more serious topics in regards to all the devious things that Satan does, I'm taking it to Rumble, and I'm going to post it and I'm letting people know. I'm going to have a subscription on my website to see those videos of those broadcasts, as well as the subscription to Rumble, and on my Patreon page. And that's what I'm going to have to do, because if I don't, there's nothing here for me on YouTube when I'm doing that. It's not going to work. You know what I mean? It's like putting a round cylinder into a square peg. It's just never going to fit. So it's just a waste of time.
You could make a YouTube short with the I don't know if you can put a live link in a short or something like that, but
well, that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, at least have the page and then put the short on YouTube, and then like advertise for the Rumble.
Well, that's what the coach told me. Coach told me take a snippet of it, a short, and share it on the platforms. Share a snippet that's not controversial, just alluding to what the topic of discussion is, and then share the link to these platforms. And he says, I think you're going to do very well. And I was like, you know what? I've been procrastinating on this because I've been feeling like, I've had 6 YouTube channels canceled, brother. So I've already lost a lot of followers that hopefully are going to find me again, because I have to change the name up. But, let's play this video real quick. This is on, this is from IG. This is what you shared with me.
Guys, there's been a major spike in coincidence lately. Yeah, they're way up. The Pemex oil company had a bad day Friday. They had 3 different fires at 3 separate locations. One of them just happened to be Deer Park, Texas, where Norfolk Southern is disposing of toxic runoff wastewater from their firefighting efforts in East Palestine, Ohio. So they shipped toxic water to dispose of in Deer Park, Texas, and it just so happened that that's the place where a fire broke out at an oil refinery. Hopefully they use different water to put this fire out.
You think?
Yeah, so it's all connected once again by coincidence. So guys, there's been a major spike in...
All right, so great video, short snippet. That's the article that we just covered a while back on this episode about that. Let's see. Then there's this one. Okay.
They're shipping the toxic waste out of the Palestine to Texas.
Right.
East Palestine. They were calling it Palestine. I'm like, oh, so it's spelled one way here, pronounced one way here, and another way on the other side of the world. But go ahead.
Dr. Tara O'Toole is a senior fellow and executive vice president at InQtel, a private nonprofit strategic investment firm that links the United States intelligence community and venture-backed startup firms on the leading edge of technological innovation.
We can now engineer biological weapons. We can make organisms that are resistant to vaccines, that are resistant to antibiotics. We can combine different diseases in peculiar ways that would make them very difficult to diagnose or treat. And we are not limited to infectious diseases. We are, as I said, learning to manipulate how the brain functions. And a weapon that would make everybody go to sleep or feel extremely anxious is not out of the question. It's also important to realize that agriculture, which is $1 trillion industry in the U.S., could also be targeted. Bioweapons are very difficult to collect intelligence against because virtually everything that you need, as well as all of the operations, are dual use. They look like legitimate biology. They have a very small footprint, and they're hard to track. And as I said earlier, the science, the know-how, and the equipment are all easily and increasingly accessible and increasingly automated.
Dr. Tara O'Toole is a senior fellow and executive vice president at InQtel, a private nonprofit strategic investment firm that links the United States intelligence.
So that was Dr. Tara O'Toole. So she broke it down, right? And if you want to share your thoughts while I pull up something real quick.
Well, yeah, okay. It's very interesting that they would have this already. And, they usually stay 20 to 25 years at least ahead of the technology that they give us. So when, they're talking about stuff that's vaccine resistant and antibiotic resistant, medicine resistant, basically, and the surprising part for me, but not surprising part, was the stuff affects the way, or can give them the ability to manipulate the way people think, because they want people to, and this goes back to MK Ultra, they want people to be able to do things that they are commanded from an external, possibly remote source, right? That is against their own will. They are talking about making zombies, basically, and soldiers, minions. That's basically all it is. But, we know that purposes can be defeated, especially evil purposes, can be defeated by the wishes and the prophecies and the wants of the Most High, because the Most High rules in the kingdom of men. He's the one that puts the most base people to rule it, so, there's a ton of conversation that could come out of that little video, you know.
Do you want to read this scripture?
Yeah, that's what is it? That's Isaiah what? Isaiah
54 verse 17.
Isaiah 54 verse 17. No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and their righteousness is of me, saith the Lord. You know, so basically, they can talk all that stuff. They can invent all that stuff. They can deal with these familiar spirits and have demons on them to even come up with this stuff in the first place. But they cannot defeat the Most High through Christ. Matter of fact, while you were playing that last video, you should have played the sad trombone, because that's what's going to happen to all of their ideas. They're going to come out with this. They, have people eating crickets. They're going to blow up. They're going to destroy stuff. They're going to poison all the land and then say you can't live on it. You got to live in these 15-minute cities and stuff. Just like, what was that Christian Bale movie? It was Tay Diggs and Christian Bale in the dystopian movie. And they're going to have all these people over you. It's going to be Hunger Games and stuff according to their plans. But the Most High is going to be playing that sad trumpet noise when he is ready to. He could stop it right now if he wants to. The only thing that's stopping him is we're not ready to serve him like we should be. We make too many slips, too many mistakes, and too many of us just don't want to serve the Lord right and make that number to get to the point where it's supposed to be, like it says in Revelation 7:1-3, where the Most High says, okay, it's time. That's the only thing, that he's waiting patiently. He's getting tired of being patient and waiting, and that's it.
Isaiah chapter 54 verse 17 says, no weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, the Most High God, and their righteousness is of me, saith the Lord, the Most High.
What?
Giving all praises. Let's give all praises to the Most High.
All praises.
This is why I'm not scared. This is why I don't fear death. This verse right here. Because the Most High is in control of all of this. And as long as we stay disciplined with the laws, the commandments, and the statutes, and we follow the example that Christ gave us so that we can be on the path, the righteous path towards salvation, which is narrow, then we don't need to be worried. We don't need to be worried. I was going over Matthew 7 again that we've been studying in class. And, the gate is wide to sin and temptations. It is very wide. But you know what? That narrow path that our brothers and sisters are following, that righteous tightrope that I like to talk about so much, as long as we stay on that righteous tightrope towards salvation through the example of the Messiah, we're good. We don't need to be worried about all this stuff. We need to be aware. We need to be prepared. We need to take precautions. But at the same time, we can't be like hopeless in despair, worrying about what's going to happen in all this. Because at the end of the day, Satan already lost this war. All right. So we just got to go through the processes of dealing with the fuckery for now. That's all. Because a lot of people, they're so deaf, dumb, and blind that when things do go down, what a lot of people they're gonna go with the flow, so to speak. They're gonna succumb to whatever these principalities ask them to do. And those are the people that are going to be tossed into the fire because they have no discipline and they have no love for the Most High. They don't trust the Most High. The God that they trust is the one that's on the paper, that green little piece of paper that you wipe your ass with called money. That's the God they trust in. That's their Lord and Savior. Because whenever they got it, they feel good. They feel like they're good now, you know? But the brothers and sisters that truly have that unwavering faith, I'm letting you know right now, you are good. Trust the plus and believe in that. No matter of fact, know it. Forget about believing. Know it to be true. Know it in every fiber of your spirit, every fiber of your soul that was given to you, that you were created in the image that the Most High created you, which was in his image, which is that everlasting light. But we can't have everlasting life unless we're following the laws and the commandments and we stay disciplined to it. And I'm going to say it again. This is not a religion. This is a way of life. It's really that simple. It is a way of life. And we were given the example of it by the Messiah. So, anything else you want to add, brother?
This topic and a lot of the stuff that you deal with on this podcast are rabbit holes, black rabbit holes. We could go on forever talking about this stuff and pulling up articles and bringing up information and stuff like that. But at least now that this information is out there, more people are aware. But the important point is the awareness is made that we should turn to the Most High in Christ and be righteous according to his dictates. And that is what's going to get us through this. Nothing else. You know, so I just want to give all praises, honor, and glory. And my happiness and my gratefulness is because of the Most High in Christ. And that's all I got.
And another thing I wanted to add too, I got a lot of guests coming up onto the show, starting next week. It's gonna be action packed, bro. Like I got a lot of interviews lined up and more just keep funneling in. It's like I had to respond to like 40 people, and then I got another 20 that came up, and then probably tomorrow there'll be another 20. So giving all praises that a lot of people want to come onto this show. To give their testimonies, to promote their books, to give tips on their health products, to give their insights on their relationship with the Most High God. So I got a lot of people coming on here. I even got a doctor that's going to come on here talking about vaccination inoculation. Okay? Dr. Lynn. So I'm super pumped up right now. But remember the show I did yesterday where I was giving gratitude to the Most High because as of last year, I had a lot of principalities attacking me through whack-ass people. All right? These whack-ass haters I had to deal with. But I'm glad that I went through it because now, you know, they can just look from afar and see that this platform that they try to destroy, especially that one brother that tried to bring it all down with his sowing discord, it's like, it ain't happening, bro. It ain't happening. Not now, not ever. We're only getting better. You know, the Most High definitely made sure that didn't happen. So, you know, I got to, again, give, where is it? I got to give another round of applause for the Most High being so wise and for his Christ setting the example to follow so that when these things were happening, I had the proper guidance, the proper counsel, and the proper people around me, and that the Most High sent to me to bring me out of that dark hole around some dark ass people. So giving all praises.
All praises.
And I would say some other words, but we're going to keep it clean, you know, because I don't want that anger spirit to take over me, but you already know. You already know. Like, nah, not happening, bro. Not happening.
Yeah.
Just, that's all I'm gonna say. Because I want to say other things, but I'll say that, you know, I'll keep that to myself. It's better not said. So with that being said, let's close this out. Let's end this with some music, because we're about an hour and 45 minutes in. And of course, we had to deal with all those technical difficulties. So it probably would have saved us more time if we didn't have to go through that. But one thing I will say about that too, brothers and sisters, is that, you know, when this evil, demonic, malevolent force that shouldn't be, that is trying to stop you doing what you're doing, go harder. Go harder. Because as you saw in the beginning, I could have been like, yo, Ahban, you know, even you said it. You was like, yo, we might have, you said if it was me, we would have postponed it for 9 or 10 o'clock. And we say, hey, cancel the broadcast. But you
I'm
gotta
not as good as you at this, bro. You know?
You got to be persistent. You got to be resilient. You got to endure the trials by fire. You got to endure the attack. Because at the end of the day, when you're rolling with the Most High, man, no weapon formed against you is going to prosper. But you gotta know it. You gotta live it. And when you are tested in it, because the Most High is going to see if you're about that life, you gotta endure. You gotta put what you know into practice, right? Also known as the fruits of the Spirit, because faith without works ain't shit.
It's dead.
So keep that in mind, brothers and sisters. I can't say it enough. Do not quit. Because that's what the enemy wants you to do. They want you to stop doing what you're doing. So that way, they can continue doing what they're doing without no hindrance.
Exactly.
Because you are the hindrance to what they got going on. So, let's play All Praises to the Most High by Brother Demon Slayer. Let's go.
Excellent choice.
You are now tuned in to the Network of Awareness.
There comes a time when we gotta praise the Most High. There comes a time when we repent in the Lord's eyes. Been traumatized, we just weep until we sore eyes. Don't cross that line or we gotta let the sword fly. There comes a time when we gotta praise the Most High. There comes a time when we repent in the Lord's eyes. Been traumatized, we just weep until we sore eyes. So don't cross that line when we gotta let the sword fly. All praises to the Most High. First off, I just want to say that every single day a blessing, so I'm really stepping, trying to find my way back. Counted the cost, repented of flaws, I'm trying to live. Yeah, the kingdom of heaven abroad. Have hope in my dreams, I pray I don't fall. I pray for the ones who is lost. I'm feeling the sorrow of times. I'm looking on up in the sky. I'm seeing a lot of the signs. It's either repent or you die. Cannot be walking two sides. Choose to stay who you ride for. Cemented in faith till I die. You don't really wanna fall off. Keep your head up. Keep my sword with me with armor. We won't let up. Sharpen up your brothers, others who we care for. Always shine the light for the Most High in Christ. There comes a time when we gotta praise the Most High. There comes a time when we repent in the Lord's eyes. Been traumatized, we just weep until we sore eyes. Don't cross that line or we gotta let the sword fly. There comes a time when we gotta praise the Most High. There comes a time when we repent in the Lord's eyes. Been traumatized, we just weep until we sore eyes. So don't cross that line when we gotta let the sword fly.
I wonder why we was created, but later I got my answers. Was searching scriptures daily, trying to get rid of this cancer, the spirit. Bearing witness, I live these holy commandments. Repent, or you gon' perish. Destruction is way too scary. Every day I wake, I give all praises to the Most High. Living in this lie, learn the truth, or you gon' die. Ain't much time left, the Savior coming, looking to the sky. It ain't no disguise, gotta armor up my own mind. Gotta get it, spirit dripping, these gifts don't got no limits. I'm just wishing I could live in that holy kingdom with them. Focus on the mission, eyes locked in tunnel vision, no paganism. We truly follow Christ, that real Christian.
There comes a time when we gotta praise the Most High. There comes a time when we repent in the Lord's eyes. Been traumatized, we just weep until we sore eyes. Don't cross that line or we gotta let the sword fly. It comes a time when we gotta praise the Most High. It comes a time when we repent in the Lord's eyes. Been traumatized, we just weep until we sore eyes. So don't cross that line when we gotta let the sword fly.
All praise to the Most High. Repent and perish.
Yes, all praise to the Most High. So with that being said, brothers and sisters, we're going to end this broadcast now. And I hope that this show gave you some great information to meditate on, to think about. A lot of these articles we shared are public information that you could do, your research on. Stay safe out there, especially to the brothers and sisters that listen to the show that are in these areas. I strongly suggest, if you can, find a way, get with your families and get the hell out of there. Because the longer you stay within these environments, the more damage you're doing to your body. And, it's highly probable that the damage that's being done is irreversible, like many other things that are going on with people's health. All right. Mm-hmm. So let's play some music here to end this out. So choose a side, baby. You want to choose the side of the Most High, or you want to choose the side of the wicked one? Do you want to choose the preeminent one, or you want to choose the one that lives and dwells in sin and in debaucherous iniquities? So all I'm going to say is, when you live in the present, there's always an opportunity for a new beginning. And don't look for the light at the end of the tunnel, brothers and sisters, because the light is and always will be within you. So light up that tunnel and find your way through the darkness. This is ORRA the Informationalist with my co-host, guest from the BOCC, Brother Ahban. And we're going to say peace, love, and light. And all praises to the Most High and His Christ. Shalom.
Shalom.